Hey guys, Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge is coming out, and with it comes all kinds of new cards that I'm excited about. So I want to make sure that you guys were aware of some old archetypes getting some new cards, which will hopefully help them see some play in domain format. There's also a bunch of other cards that I'm specifically excited to try out in domain format, so I wanted to go over all those with you guys. If you don't know what domain format is, it's a multiplayer, free-for-all format where everyone has access to a deck master. If that sounds interesting and you want to learn more, I got a convenient how to play video. Go ahead and check it out. If you end up finding yourself wanting a place to talk about domain format, build decks, get help, and even play some games either remote or simulator, go and check out the domain format Discord. It's about to hit 1,500 people. It's freaking crazy. It's about to hit 1,500 people. It's a wonderful place. I definitely recommend checking it out. If you want to help me out, you can like the video. It's free and it helps YouTube share my videos with more people, and hopefully more people will learn about domain format. Everybody wins. If you'd like to support me directly, you can use my TCG Player affiliate link in the description below, so that the next time you shop on TCG Player, it'll let them know that I sent you and I'll get a commission. It doesn't add anything into your total or charge you anything. It's just lets them know that I sent you. All right, and with that said, let's get into the set. So first off, let's go over the reprints for the set that I think in general are good for domain. Kurikara Div Incarnate is a really cool card in my opinion. It's a type of kaiju that can punish your opponent for each monster that they activated during your own turn, because it allows you to tribute them all. It gets 1,500 attack for each one, so it can get huge. And it also can monster reborn an opponent's monster during your end phase. Ton of value, great card. And as you can see, getting reprinted in this set helped a lot with its overall price. I'll definitely be getting some of these. Diviner the Herald is another cool reprint. As you can see, this reprint announcement has tanked this card. It used to be up to 20 bucks, 25. I think this is a great pickup because Voiceless Voice, believe it or not, is a crazy good domain deck. I have built it. I've been having a ton of fun with it. And this also obviously goes in with any of the fairy ritual stuff like Cyber Angels or Herald of Perfection, as you can see. Always happy to see cards get reprinted to lower the price. Substitute is another card that I believe previously only had one printing. So this is the first time it's been reprinted. It's not going to be a $30 rare anymore. Blazing Cartesia along with Grand Guignol is getting a reprint. It used to be like up towards like, I believe it hit like 20, 25. So after it being announced that it was getting a reprint, that was reflected in the price dropping. And also all of the super rares and ultra rares from the structure deck Albaz is getting reprinted in the set, which they weren't expensive before or anything, but the structure deck's getting pretty old, so they're harder to find. I'm biased. I love Albaz. I love the archetype. It's what I play in advanced. So I'm personally happy to see it. Aroma Serafi Jasmine was hitting, I believe it was up towards like 20 bucks. Oh gosh, 30. Yeah, so this was getting popularized because I believe over in Europe, plants is a popular archetype among pro players, and especially things with like Ragnarok coming out, there's a lot of speculation. So seeing this get reprinted is cool. This isn't an expensive card by any means, but it is cool that it's getting reprinted. I'll tell you why. This card is a monster in domain format. It's got an incredibly Swiss tool-like quick effect, and it also recurs itself from the graveyard if anybody banishes cards while it's in the graveyard. So it's recurable, it's got 3k body. It's very easy to make with a card I'll show you in a second. And the quick effect is wild. You can activate it whenever you want, and it lets you protect your face-up monsters from destruction or being banished by your opponent's card effects this turn. But if you activate it in response to an opponent's card effect or activation, and your opponent has cards with that name on their field or graveyard, you can banish those cards. So your opponent can activate something that doesn't even target your stuff, and you can just chain this, and if the card they originally activated is on the field or graveyard, this will banish that. It's very good in my opinion. I've seen this come up like 3 times so far in domain games, and every single time it's just been very good every single turn, and it keeps coming back. These type of cards are perfect in domain in my opinion. And as everybody knows, level 10 synchros are not that hard to make. This is a 1 card. It specials itself by discarding a water card, a water monster, makes a level 3 token, it's a level 7 tuner, bada bing bada boom, you're done. I also think that the Ice Jade cards are very complementary to the Ice Barrier cards, which there's getting a ton of reprints in the set too. Sprite is another archetype in general that's getting a lot of reprints from the set, which is great. I actually have a video of a frog Sprite player going crazy on the first few turns of a domain game. You can check that out if you want. And if you didn't know, there's some old dual terminal archetypes getting a bunch of reprints and brand new cards in this set. I'm not going to go over every single reprint and every single new card, but I am going to mention the archetypes in case you are interested in those archetypes. You can look at the new cards they're getting. I would love it if people built domain decks with these archetypes getting new support, because I personally know how cool it is seeing an archetype you like get new support, and it reinvigorates your interest in the archetype and trying to build it. So Infernoid is getting a bunch of reprints and some new cards. The main one being this new fusion. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what Infernoids do. I did not do any homework or research before doing this video, but if you're excited about Infernoids, I imagine you're incredibly excited to seeing all these new cards. Ritual Beast is also getting new support along with a lot of reprints. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know what all of this archetype does, but if you do and you're excited about it, I am happy for you. Gen X is one of those other archetypes that is getting some new cards and some reprints, and Ice Barrier. I think of these archetypes, I'm most excited to look into this one because I've been meaning to do some sort of water type deck anyways, because after seeing Gimmer in a few games, I'm very interested in trying out Ice Shades with the Ice Barrier cards. So if you're live under a rock and didn't know that these archetypes are getting new cards, congratulations, those are getting some new cards. But the whole reason I made this video is because there are specifically a bunch of cards that I am excited about in Domain, and I'm just gonna start going through them. I am a Yugi boomer at heart, I gotta admit. So seeing the Shining Sarcophagus archetype, or I guess series of cards, it's getting an Archfiend for Yugi's deck. I don't particularly think this card's great. It takes up your normal summon, gives a buff of 500 to the rest of your cards, and it allows you to change apart something until the end of turn. Obviously in advance, this doesn't do anything going first, so most people are gonna think this card sucks, but luckily in Domain, odds are that a player would have gone before you, even in the first round of turns. So I think this will be better or at least more applicable in Domain. I remember seeing the spoilers for this card and people speculating that this was gonna be a Dragon Ruler. While it's not specifically a Dragon Ruler, it is a pretty cool card in general. Being able to pop a card your opponent controls and you control obviously plays well with a lot of fire archetypes, Fire King, stuff like that. The Dragon Rulers can make rank 7s, so you could play all the Dragon Rulers with this. Being able to bring it back to play from the graveyard and then it puts itself back into the extra deck, I think people are gonna be able to mess around with this card, try it out for themselves. It's nothing crazy, but it's just a cool card in my opinion. This card I am excited about. I remember the Discord losing its mind when this got spoiled, and we talked about it a lot. Being able to gain some life points each time or for the first time that a monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, every single turn in a 4-turn rotation, cushions your life total quite a bit. Life gain's quite good in Domain. And then if you end up special summoning a monster from your graveyard face up, it gains more attack than if it's destroyed. You would gain more life points if it was the first monster destroyed that turn. But the coolest part of the card, if you discard spells or traps from your hand to your graveyard, you can target one of them, add it back to your hand. This is kind of crazy in my opinion. Dark World Dealings, get back the card you discarded. Graceful Charity, get back one of the cards you discarded. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, discard a spell to activate its negate, get that card back to activate the negate again on your next opponent's turn. This card's crazy. I'm gonna be ordering not financial advice, but I'm gonna be ordering like 10 of these because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be putting it into quite a few decks. Shining Star Dragon. This card's pretty crazy with all of the 5Ds era Dragon Synchro monsters. A quick monster reborn for your Stardust Dragon. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. If you're able to get out a Bestial before activating this and summoning it and then synchro into something like Dissipator on top of getting back your Stardust, like dragons are one of the most supported types of monsters in the game. This just has all kinds of cool applications, and I think somebody with a deeper knowledge of the Yu-Gi-Oh card pool than me would be able to figure out a lot more cool things to do with this card specifically. So I can see the potential in this card. So there's 3 new toy cards in this set, and I think this engine is kind of crazy. It is just absurd how much card advantage you can get from these 3 cards alone. Toy Box is a continuous spell, and it has a really cool defensive option. Once per turn, when your opponent monster declares an attack, you can send a face down card you control to the graveyard, destroy that opponent's monster. So just having this out will give you the rattlesnake effect of like, hey, I'm just gonna sit here looking intimidating, and if you mess with me, then I'm going to do something retaliatory back to you. That alone will just naturally cause people to attack other players. And the cool thing about this card is if your opponent attacks somebody else, you can still activate it. Obviously talk with the table, and you can say something like, hey man, if that doesn't come my way, there won't be no toy box activation, you know what I'm saying? But it's got a bunch of other cool effects. Once per turn, you can activate one of these 2 effects. The first one, the second one being destroy up to 2 cards in your own spell and trap zones. This enables the other toy cards, but I don't imagine this will be what you're activating most of the time. What you'll be activating most of the time, I think, is the prior effect. From your hand, deck, face-up monster zones, and or graveyard, choose up to 2 monsters with toy in their original names that can set themselves from the hand as a spell, and set them in your spell and trap zones as spells. Konami is obviously just on a tear about putting monsters into spells and trap zones, obviously toying with it a lot. So this will search the next 2 cards I'm about to show you, and these next 2 cards I think are going to be very good with some other archetypes that care about putting monsters in spell and trap zones. First one up is Toy Soldier. This has its own ability to set itself as a spell. If it's in the spell and trap zone and sent to the graveyard, Doesn't care about how, if it sends itself or it's destroyed, whatever. You can special summon this card. If it's normal or special summoned, you can add a toy box from your deck to your hand. And if you already control toy box, you can add a level 4 light monster instead. That is so incredibly generic. That blows my mind that it doesn't say search for a toy or whatever. So this will search toy box, and toy box could possibly put this from your monster zone into your spell trap zone. And it can also search for this next card, toy tank. Toy tank is a level 4 light monster, which toy soldier can search for. This also can be set in your spell trap zone as a spell. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can also tribute it to special summon a level 6 or lower monster from your hand, or if you control toy box, you can special summon a level 6 lower monster from your graveyard instead. This is crazy, man. All three of these cards just kind of flow into each other. So toy soldier can get toy box, and if you do toy box first, let's say, toy box could search for both toy soldier and toy tank. These cards are just kind of crazy to me. And the first archetype I thought of when using these cards, what are some archetypes that care about monsters being in the spell trap zone? Snake Eye, Whitewoods. I personally have been working on a Snake Eye, Diabell Star, Diabell's, Whitewoods deck, and these are instantly going to go in. And it's only 3 cards, and they all relatively are quite good on their own. So you could set either toy tank or toy soldier as a spell trap, use a Snake Eye or a Whitewoods card to send it to the graveyard. They would special themselves. This would search for toy box. This would allow it to be attributed to special summon another monster out of your hand. I'm not a super competitive advanced player, but I imagine these cards are going to be used a lot. Even in Domain, I think they're cool. This card just made me laugh. I don't know what's going on here. There's 2 guys arguing in court, and the judge is like, whoa guys, chill out. And the entire card effects are about fish. I don't know what is going on, but when I was reading this card, I imagined it could possibly see play in like Goaty or White Aura. It's got some pretty good effects. You can make a fish you control a tuner, and if your opponent attacks, you can discard a fish, make all your opponent's monsters shift to defense position. That's pretty good. It completely stops them in their tracks unless they start summoning more in the battle phase, which is rarer. And then if one of your fish gets destroyed, you can send this from the spell trap zone to the graveyard, special summon a fish from your graveyard. It's just it's crazy good fish support. I imagine what's going on in this card has something to do with this card, which is also coming out in the next set, White Circle Reef. Unfortunately, this is completely useless in Domain because it requires multiples of the same card. But are they in court debating on who gets to fish from here? Is that what's going on? I don't know. This is wild. Is there some lore I'm missing out on here? I don't know. But anyway, okay. There are 2 cool new boss monsters coming out of this set. Phantom of Yugioh being one of them. This card is so good. It takes a Yugioh monster, which means it doesn't have to be Yugioh. It can be Spirit of Yugioh, any of the Yugioh incarnates, whatever. And a fiend with zero attack and 0 defense. And you don't have to use a polymerization. You can just special summon it from your extra deck by shuffling the above cards from your hand, field, or graveyard back into the deck. So it's free, basically. It cannot be used as fusion material, which is surprisingly pretty good, especially if you're playing against like an Albaz player and they want to use Albaz and one of your extra deck monsters to make Mirror Jade. Can't do it with this. Can't be super polyed, which is less common in Domain, but still notable. Can't be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage while on this card. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you contribute this card. The activated effect becomes your opponent destroys 1 Yugioh monster in their hand, deck, or field. So on top of all the previous Yugioh plays, which Yugioh is a pretty good archetype in Domain because it makes every single battle phase incredibly difficult to get through. Oftentimes they can't enter battle phase because if they do, they'll be forced to attack your Yugioh monsters, killing themselves. And the Yugioh monsters are incredibly floaty. They float into each other, especially with this new Nightmare Throne from Legacy of Destruction. But it's even crazier because you can activate Phantom of Yugioh, negating something or whatever, destroying your own Yugioh from your deck or whatever, starting getting Yugioh back into play. While this Phantom of Yugioh is in your graveyard and Nightmare of Thrones out in play, and your level 10 Yugioh gets destroyed by some effect or whatever, you can target a level 9 or 11 Yugioh monster you can add to hand a Yugioh monster with one level lower or higher. So if your level 10 Yugioh gets destroyed or whatever, this would activate. You could take this Phantom of Yugioh from your graveyard add it back to your hand, which would then put it back in the extra deck to be used again to shuffle more stuff back to get it out again. And it's just like the recycling is crazy. It is so good. This deck is going to be so obnoxious. Unfortunately, the pre-sale prices are pretty high. I'm not a good judge of market watches or anything. Personally, I always wait 2 weeks after a set comes out before I start ordering singles. That's just me, not financial advice, whatever. But this card in conjunction with the Nightmare Throne makes me want to build this deck. After seeing it be played quite a few times in Domain. It's an incredibly good archetype. This is going to push over the edge. I think it's going to be super good. And last but not least, the card I'm literally most excited about, which is unfortunate for another reason, Dragon Master Magia. Dragon Magia Master? I don't know. One of the two. This is a Yugi Boomer card if I've ever seen one. So obviously I am over the moon about this card. Just read the materials it takes. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon or 3 Blue Eyes monsters plus a Chaos or Blackluster Ritual monster. Like, what? And when your opponent activates a card or quick effect, you can negate the activation if you destroy that card. You can only activate this effect in response to each card type, monster, spell, trap, once per turn. It can negate 3 things, a monster, a spell, and a trap, and destroy them all. And if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon a Blue Eyes monster or Chaos or Blackluster Soldier Ritual monster from your extra deck or graveyard. Now, in order to special summon the Ritual monster, I believe it would have to have been properly summoned first, but you can get any Blue Eyes monster out of your extra deck, so you can go for, Blue Eyes Alternative, Ultimate, I don't know, whatever. It floats, which is nice. Also, I think a funnier play, just having this in the extra deck means you can activate Fusion Armament, revealing a monster in your extra deck being Blue Eyes Magia Master. And you can special summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon from your extra deck. Free Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. What is there to complain about? I already loaded this card personally. I think this card's really good. I think they've been making fusion cards with this in mind to help older archetypes, because there's a lot of things you can do with Gaia and Flame Swordsman, stuff like that too, as shown in the picture. But yeah, legitimately, this is the card that I am most excited about. The unfortunate thing, as I'm sure everybody's aware of, this only comes in the set as a quarter century rare, and it is pre-ordering at pretty insane prices. We're talking like $500–600. Nuts. Crazy. Ain't no way I'm paying that much money to have some fun playing some Domain format. So personally, again, this is just what I'm going to do. I don't care if somebody wants to spend $600 on this. It's their money to spend how they choose. Personally, as long as everybody's okay with it that I'm playing with, I'm probably just going to proxy this. If people aren't okay with that, I'm okay with not. I don't have to have this in the extra deck. I don't mind, but I imagine this will get reprinted hopefully in the next tins or the next year's tins, whatever. It sucks that that's what I have to do in order to play this card. Obviously, Konami is trying something new with their marketing for the set, making this only available as a quarter century rare. It's incredibly anti-consumer, which sucks for everybody, for the regular guy playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And wants to play with cards that reminds them of, the DM era Yu-Gi-Oh! Luckily, I have those options I said before, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. But anyway, that is it. That is everything in the set that I'm excited about. I love getting some new toys. Every single set feels like there's just a bunch of new toys to play with for Domain. Always gets me excited. I will absolutely be ordering some cards in a couple weeks when the prices settle. If you end up ordering from TCG Player, it would help me out a ton if you guys used my TCG Player affiliate link below. But I am curious what you guys thought about this set. Do any of the new cards and reprints from the dual terminal archetypes make you want to try any of them out in Domain format? Are there any other cards in the set that you're excited for Domain format? I'd love to hear about it. You guys can tell me about those cards below in the comments. But that is all I got for you guys today. Until I see you guys next time, take care, okay?